So, beginning of the year is coming up. Let's get my TBR cart refilled with all the books that I want to read. And let's see how many books we have left over from my TBR cart that I filled up at the beginning of October. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be my last video of 2023, and I wanted to do a little bit of a reflection. Wanted to see how well I did on my TBR cart that I piled up at the end of September, beginning of October. How many books do I have left over to read? And let's go ahead and stuff it full of all the books that I think I want to read, that have caught my attention off of my bookshelf, and just kind of go from there. Before we get into the video, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Check my description box for all of my links if you want to follow me on Goodreads and Instagram, also on Pango Books, and also my Patreon link is down below. My Patreon is going to be back in full force January 1st, and we are going to be starting off with a book club pick that I ended up picking. It's called Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, and we're going to go ahead and read that series. And then I also want to get your feedback on what books we want to add on next time after we get done with those 4 books that are currently published. And you just get some extra perks. You get to be part of a Patreon exclusive sprints every month. Just a lot of different things. Check it down below. So let's see how well I did on the TBR cart that I had compiled for myself. I want to say it was at the end of September, I believe, but I was pretty shocked with myself whenever I looked at my cart that I have over here on how many books that I had left. Now, I am not going to be going over all of my manga and graphic novels because I do have those setting out right now. Those are going to be my first reads of 2024. So they're not even going to be on my TBR cart because they will be gone in the next few days. But what books do I have left on here to read? So what I have left over is, and I'm not going to go in depth with these books because I already did that whenever I filled my TBR cart. And then we'll get into the stack of books that I have back here, of books that have caught my attention, that I went through my bookshelves and I was like, I do want to read that. So of course I have Henry VIII, The Heart and the Crown by Allison Weir. This was a Waterstones exclusive, I believe, because it is signed by Allison Weir. But I have this on here because I'm a huge Tudor fan. Y'all already know that. And then the next book that I do have on there is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. Again, another book that caught my attention. It's a chunker, so hopefully I get to it. The next one that I still have on there is Mortal Remains by Mary Ann Fraser. I also have The Darkening by Sunyamara. This was the Fairy Loot exclusive. And then I also have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, another Fairy Loot exclusive. And then I also have Belladonna by Adeline Grace, another Fairy Loot exclusive that I have. I was trying to get through some of my BookBox subscription books. And then I have Smoke and Key by Kelsey Sutton. I also have My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I have Blood Orange by Karina Halley. This was a Bookish Box exclusive edition. I have The Fallen by Thomas Snagowski. I think I'm actually going to be unhauling this because it hasn't grabbed my attention. I don't even know where I got this book at. I think I'm just going to unhaul it. And then we have Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. And then lastly, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. Now, I think this is book 2 in the series. So I am going to be removing this book off of my TBR cart until I can get to this book in the series. So we're going to remove that. So I'm just removing 2 of them. One I'm unhauling, one I'm just going to keep back until I can get to it in the series. So let's go ahead and pack it onto my cart, and then we'll get into the new books that I am going to be adding. All right, so I went ahead and put them on the top shelf. I'll go ahead and show you really quick. I have all of these up here because I want them to be my priority reads, because they've been on theirs for a couple months now. But let's go over the books that I am going to be putting on my TBR cart for some mood reads, for some books that have caught my attention or that I've heard a lot of buzz about. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of depth of what these books are about. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you kind of like what intrigued me or why I'm going to be continuing that series, because in 2024, the one thing that I want to do is reduce my physical TBR by hopefully 20 to 30%. I am also hoping to continue and finish series that I'm currently in the middle of, and some of these books are continuations, so I'm pretty excited for that. But let's start off with To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. This was that sprayed edge exclusive edition that came out whenever it was launched. And so I don't know much about this, but I do know that it is a Red Towers book or Entangled Publishing. Anyway, I'm part of the Insiders group. I've heard a lot of buzz about it from people that had arcs of it. So of course I had to put it on my TBR cart. And then the next one is a continuation of a series. It is Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent. This is book 2 in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. I'm hoping to get to this one and then maybe later on in the year finish up the trilogy with the daughter. I don't know what the last one's called actually. But anyway, we're going to continue on with the series because I'm pretty excited to get to it. The next one is going to be Woven by Gold by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 2 in the Beasts of the Briar series that I started a couple months ago. Been desperate to get to this book because book 3 and the final book in the trilogy just released in December. So I can't wait to get to that. I am going to I'm actually going to be starting The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So this is book 1 in the Off-Campus series, and people rave about it so much. I just need to know what is going on, and it's been on my shelves for so long that it's time that I get to it. And then I'm also going to be reading my very first ever Colleen Hoover book, and I don't know if I'm going to like it. We're going to see. But it is Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. So this was, I want to say like an episodic type of release, and then they finally came up with the bind up of the whole story. I don't know much about it, but I've seen a lot of people say that it's pretty good, so we're just going to go ahead and try that. And then I'm going to be trying Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers. I don't know anything about this book either. I ended up getting it as a gift to me, so I can't wait to read it. And then I am going to be continuing on, finally, with the Magnolia Parks series with book 2, which is Daisy Hates. And I have the original covers before they redid them, so I think it's time that I dive back into this world. And then I'm going to be starting a new to me book, which is A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. I have heard mixed reviews. I have heard that it is good, and I've also heard that it's not so good. So I can't wait to dive into this. I think Rachel from Raven Haired Reader, I think she said that she ended up loving this. So I'm hoping that I like it too, because her and I seem to have similar tastes in books. When the Sky Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. Is this the same Emily Henry that writes those books that everybody likes? I'm not sure, but I'm pretty intrigued. I don't even know where I got this book at. I've had it for a while, so I'm sure I got it like at a bargain sale or something. So I can't wait to try that. And then Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. I have heard nothing but good things about this series, and so I'm ready to dive in to this. I know that it's kind of like a mafia type dark romance possibly, so can't wait to get into that. I then have Blood and Moonlight by Erin Beatty. I've had this book for maybe 2 years, a year and a half. Anyway, this came out of the Abraxas book box before they went kind of out of business. And so I was a subscriber to it, and this was one of them. I mean, it doesn't have anything fancy to it, but I do believe it has, maybe it doesn't. Yes, it does. It does have a signed book plate, so I was pretty excited for that. I'm really sad that they went out of business, though. I really enjoyed the book picks that they had. And then I do have my fabled edition of Fighting Destiny by Amelia Hutchins. I have seen this everywhere, all over my Facebook recommendations and everything, so it's time to dive into this book. And then I have 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I have heard that this is a gut-wrenching story. I heard that I'm going to cry. I'm all here for that. I've never read from Tilly Cole, so I can't wait for that. And then I'm going to be continuing on with the Discovery of Witches series, or the All Souls trilogy, I guess. And this is Shadow of Night, which is book 2 by Deborah Harkness. I recently did a reread of book 1, and it kind of revamped a lot of things in my mind about what was going on and the storyline and stuff, so I'm ready to dive in to book 2. Then we have, my husband bought me this book, so of course I need to get to it kind of soon, but that is Paper Princess by Erin Watt. I think this book has been around for quite a while, so I know that there are 4 or 5 books in here, so I can't wait to get into this series. And then a book that I've heard nothing but good things, and I do believe that this was on a couple of booktubers that I watched their favorite reads of 2023, and that is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. I heard that this is, again, another gut-wrenching story, and so, again, I'm all here for that. And then I have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I don't know how long this book has been around, but I have just recently been hearing a lot of buzz about it, about how it's really good. I think that it deals with like a siren or a mermaid, something like that. Can't wait to get to that either. And then, of course, I want to see what Lynn Painter is all about, because I've heard a lot of people love her YA romances, and this is called The Do-Over, and it's kind of like you relive the same day over and over again, so I'm pretty excited to see how this story kind of flows. And then I have my Illumicrate edition of Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I don't know if I'm going to like this, only because it seems like it's really like horror-esque, and I'm not into that type of genre. And then we have a second book in a series that I am so desperate to get to, and it is so heavy. And that is To Ashes and Dust by Luna Laurier. This is book 2 in the Of Shadow and Moonlight series, which I just recently read a couple months ago and loved it. I feel like I've talked about it so much, so I'm not going to. But this is book 2. I just recently pre-ordered the Bookish Box exclusive edition of this book, but it's probably going to be like a year before I get it. So wanted to get into this one. And then another series I am continuing is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is book 2 in the Red Queen series. Another series that has been out for quite a while, but I just recently started reading it, and I'm actually in love with it, so I can't wait to get to book 2 as well. I have another book that my husband picked up for me, only because he knows me so well, and that is Finding Dorothy by Elizabeth Letts. Now, I am a huge Wizard of Oz fan. I, as a child, would watch it so much that my parents said that I wore out a VHS tape of it, and they had to buy a second copy of it because I watched it so frequently. So I love The Wizard of Oz, probably because I'm from Kansas, born and raised. But this book is not really a retelling. It's actually about Frank L. Baum's wife and how she was on the set of, The Wizard of Oz, and she kind of took, who played Dorothy? Judy Garland. Why could I not remember that? She takes Judy Garland under her wing and kind of like talks with her, teaches her, treats her kind of like a daughter. So I can't wait to get to this book. It's definitely not my normal, but I'm pretty excited. The next one is my in-person book club pick that we have for January, and that is Mile High by Liz Tomford. I can't wait to get into this. Everybody says that the Windy City series is so good, and I own book 2 and book 3 already in it, so I can't wait to dive into this series and see what it's all about. And then I'm finally going to be starting, I don't know why I'm starting so many series whenever I have so many that I have to continue, but nonetheless, City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I heard that this is kind of like, not really a historical fantasy, but it is not your typical fantasy, and so I'm pretty excited to see how this story goes. I don't know much about it, but I'm desperate to see what the Daevabad trilogy is about. And then another book that I've had on my shelf for so long, which is another Entangled Publishing book, and I think I bought it off of the publishing company's website because I love kind of what this premise is about, and that is Storybound by Emily McKay. Now, I don't know how long this book has been out, but it's been on my shelf for a while. And what I really like about it is it's about a girl. I don't know if she's writing a story or reading a book or something, and it's like the book boyfriend becomes real, and so she gets to like live out that, you know, kind of like fantasy of being with the book boyfriend. Anyway, it's really good. I can't wait to try and see if that is going to live up to the hype that I have in my head. The next one is Emmy and the Tudor King by Natalie Murray. I don't know. It just said the Tudor King. It's about the Tudor time frame. That's all I needed to know. I am also going to be trying the series that has taken a lot of booktubers' lives over, and that is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is book 2 in the Chestnut Springs series. I know nothing about it. I don't like cowboy romances. I normally don't even read small town romances very often, so we're going to see how this goes with me. The next one, I've actually heard a lot of people rave about it, and I think the final book just came out or is coming out. So I decided to try This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. I still haven't read Shatter Me either, so this will be kind of like my first dip in the water with her, and we'll see how her writing is, but I have heard a lot of good things about this series, so I can't wait to try it. Alright, so we are on the final little stack of books that I have here. I have Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. Again, I've heard nothing but good things about this. I think it's a workplace romance, and I'm pretty excited for it. And then 2 books that my husband had bought me, and I don't even know which one is first and which one is second. So the first one is The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan, and then you also have The Rebel King by Kennedy Ryan. He bought these books for me quite a while ago, actually. And whenever I say quite a while ago, probably in the summertime. And I need to get to these. So they're going onto my TBR cart. I also have never read this series, but everybody raves about it. And it's a middle grade series, and that is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Can't wait to get into this and see what it's all about. I have heard people say that A Court of Thorns and Roses is kind of similar to Howl's Moving Castle, so we'll see. Then we also have King of Flesh and Bone by Liv Zander. This is not a very big book. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it is, but I've heard that this is very dark, and it is a fantasy romance, so I can't wait to see what this is about. And then we also have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Attier. Becca in the Books is just now reading this, or has just recently read this, because it was her Patreon pick of, I want to say October or November. Anyway, she's raving about it. It was on my shelf, and I was like, let's just see what this is about. And I know that it just deals with this king takes a new wife every day, and by morning, the woman is dead. So we're going to see how this goes. And then a book that I got sent by the publisher. that I don't even remember ever requesting. And that is The Little Book of Aliens by Adam Frank. It's not very big. I think that it is just like a little, it's like about questions about, UFOs and hoaxes and just different things. I can't wait to get to it. I didn't even know that I needed this book in my life, but whenever the publisher sent it to me, I'm definitely going to be reading that. And then we have A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. I think it's time for me to get on this train of is it good or is it not, because I do believe that I pre-ordered the Pearl of Peridot or whatever the second book is that's coming out next year. So I need to read the first book just to make sure that I'm going to actually want to read the second book. So we're going to do that. And then the last book that is on my TBR cart is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. Now, I love this cover, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm pretty excited to dive into this book. Okay, so those are all the books that I have stuffed my TBR cart full of, because I have decided that instead of every single month putting up a TBR, you guys, it is too early in the morning for me. Instead of putting together like a TBR pile and kind of just sticking with those books, I really liked what I did at the end of September, beginning of October, whenever I was going into my busy season at my work. And I really liked that I did the whole mood reading thing. So I would just stuff my TBR cart full of books that piqued my interest, books that I want to read, books that I've heard a lot of good things about, and it's helping me clear my shelves because I'm able to make more room. If I don't like the books, I can unhaul them, but at least it lets me have a variety of options where I can, really just mood read. I can just pick what I want instead of, sticking to a strict structure. And I've actually found that I've been enjoying myself more doing that instead of just sticking to a specific number of books each month. So we're just going to keep doing that. So let me just quickly turn you around. I'm going to show you the TBR cart, how full it is. So here we go. Let me see if I can kind of move you out a little bit. You're kind of out of focus. Okay, there we go. So we have my, books that were left over. So I want to get to those as quick as possible. And then, we have these stuffed, and then let me kind of move you down. And then you can kind of see that the bottom shelf is pretty stuffed, but let me move you back up. Here is what is wild. I have some books. Ooh. That are on the top right here, the middle, and the bottom. So I've never had that before where I've had to like kind of double stack it almost. So I'm pretty excited. I think I have a good number of books here to kind of just start the new year off with and have a good mood reading session every single month. And then whenever we get down to the last, 7, 8 books that are on the cart, then we can make another video and stuff it full again. But again, in 2024, I want to mood read because I want to enjoy reading again. And I also want to continue series that I've already started, and I want to finish series that I've already started. I have a couple of videos in mind where I want to read the first, 6 books in the Mortal Instruments series because I do own those on my shelves, just to kind of see if I would even like Cassandra Clare's world. I've heard some controversy about that world, so we'll see if I like it. But that would clear off 6 books of my shelf if I don't like it. And then also I have a couple other series like the Shatter Me series. I have Stalking Jack the Ripper. I also have a couple other series that I have like 3 or 4 books in that I think I'm just going to do kind of like in a week or two, read all the books in the series. So that way I can just kind of check mark them off, get them off of my shelves if I don't like them. And, make room for new books that I'm excited for. And I'm hoping that maybe I don't buy a whole lot of books and I can get through a big chunk of my physical TBR. But I also want to, in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be redoing my bookshelves. So I hope you stick around for that as well. But leave me some comments below. Are there any books on my TBR cart that you're excited to read or that you have read and you love them? Are there any books that I should prioritize, that you think that I would love the most? Definitely always leave me comments below, but definitely check for my next video, which will be my December wrap-up, which will be coming out on January 2nd. And see what, December brought for me, because there was kind of some ups and downs and some books that I was so happy to get to. And then also make sure that you stick around. I have a lot more good content, and vlogs are going to be returning, weekly vlogs, and those will be going up on every Tuesday. So I will be starting to film that starting New Year's Eve, because I like to do a Sunday through Saturday type of vlog. And you will be seeing that, I think, on January 9th will be the first vlog that comes back. But again, I hope you guys had a great 2023. I hope you stay safe for New Year's Eve that is coming up this weekend. And I hope that in 2024, you find some new amazing books and maybe some new authors that you love. But I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye!